When Pokémon GO launched in 2016, augmented reality suddenly became a global phenomenon. For a brief moment, it felt like the future had arrived. And then, things went quiet. But over the last decade, AR has been quietly advancing, and it's finally ready to enter a new phase. Most of us have seen AR filters or placed virtual furniture in our living room, but very few people realized what's actually happening behind the lens. To keep a single digital object perfectly anchored to your physical desk, your device has to perform billions of operations every second. In fact, one of the greatest engineering challenges of our time hasn't been writing the software for AR, it has been figuring out how to pack desktop-level compute power into tiny, lightweight devices, all while managing heat dissipation and battery life so that the device doesn't overheat on your face. Now, full AR glasses are finally beginning to emerge in the consumer space as early as this year. And this time, AR might not just be a feature, it could become a new central platform. But that raises an important question. How does augmented reality actually work? How can a phone or headset understand space well enough to anchor digital objects into the real world? What has to happen behind the scenes so that a virtual cube stays on your table instead of sticking to your screen? Today, we are going to break this down step by step, from camera tracking and spatial mapping to depth estimation, all the way to lighting and rendering. By the end of this video, you will not only understand how augmented reality works, but you will also realize how much computing needs to be done each second by your phone or headset, making this effect appear almost like magic. Step 1. Tracking the camera. Everything in AR starts with one fundamental problem. The device must understand where it is in 3D space. This means estimating 6 degrees of freedom. 3 for position, forward and backward, left and right, and up and down, and 3 for rotation. If this fails, everything fails. Objects drift, they wobble, and they slide unnaturally. So how does the device solve this? It uses a technique called visual inertial odometry. This combines 2 types of sensors. First, the RGB camera captures a continuous stream of images. Second, the IMU, the accelerometer and gyroscope, measure acceleration and rotation at a very high frequency. The catch, the IMU drifts over time. To fix this, the camera provides visual stability by tracking features in the environment. These features are high contrast positions like corners, edges, and texture details. As the camera moves, these points shift in predictable ways. By observing how they move across frames, the system estimates how the camera moved in 3D space. This process runs continuously, 30 to 70 times per second. Step 2. Building a spatial map. Once the system knows how it moves, it can start reconstructing the world. This is where SLAM comes in, simultaneous localization and mapping. The device builds a sparse 3D point cloud. Each point represents a tracked visual feature in space. Over time, this becomes a rough skeleton of the environment. It is not a detailed mesh, and it's not a full 3D model, but it's enough to stabilize tracking and understand geometry. At this stage, AR does not know what objects are. It only understands spatial relationships. Step 3. Scene understanding. Now we move from tracking to understanding. Using the reconstructed spatial data, the system can identify larger structures. One common representation is plane detection. The algorithm searches for clusters of points that lie on flat surfaces. Horizontal planes become floors and tables. Vertical planes become walls. Planes are mathematical surface approximations. They are not limited to 4 points, but are fitted from many spatial samples. Planes are extremely useful. They allow us to place objects, align them properly, simulate physics, and catch shadows. Beyond flat planes, some systems go further by reconstructing full 3D meshes. This is often powered by depth sensing or depth fusion. Instead of flat approximations, the environment becomes a connected triangle mesh. Now, objects can collide with real geometry. Shadows can fall more accurately, and occlusion becomes realistic. This is what makes high-end AR feel grounded. Step 4. Depth maps. Depth is a major upgrade in modern AR. A depth map is an image where every pixel contains distance information. It can be generated in several ways. Stereo camera pairs, dedicated sensors like LiDAR, or machine learning estimations from RGB images. Depth is not always perfectly accurate, but it dramatically improves immersion. With depth, visual objects can move behind real ones. This is called occlusion. Without depth, AR looks like a sticker on top of reality. With depth, it feels embedded. Depth also improves stability and placement precision, especially on irregular surfaces. Once surfaces exist, interaction becomes possible. When you tap the screen, the system performs a raycast. An invisible ray is projected from the virtual camera into the reconstructed world. If the ray intersects plane or mesh, the system returns a hit position and orientation. This is where the object gets placed. Anchors are then created to lock content to that real-world position. Anchors ensure persistence. Even if tracking temporarily weakens, the system tries to keep objects stable relative to the anchor. In multiplayer scenarios, anchors can even be shared across devices. This allows multiple users to see the same object in the same physical location. Step 6. Lighting and rendering. Finally, everything must look believable. Unlike traditional games, AR cannot rely on predefined lighting. Instead, it uses light estimation. By analyzing the camera image, the system estimates the overall brightness, color temperature, and sometimes even directional light. These estimates are applied to virtual objects. Combined with plane-based shadow receivers or full mesh geometry, the result is a convincing blend of real and virtual. So what is augmented reality really? It is simply a continuous loop of sensor fusion, camera tracking, spatial reconstruction, depth estimation, and real-time rendering, all running dozens of times per second. The fact that this happens on a handheld device is honestly remarkable, and we are only at the beginning. As AR glasses become more capable, the underlying systems will become even more sophisticated. Better mapping, better depth, better understanding of the world. But the core principles will remain the same. If you found this useful and you want to learn how to build this in Unity or WebAR step by step, take a look at the other videos on this channel. I've created many tutorials about this topic. But that's it for this video, so as always, thanks a lot for watching and see you next time.